Hi, so I wanted to make a quick video about autistic burnouts and headaches because, frankly, I'm actually feeling quite tired and exhausted today, and because yesterday I was on a course for half the day and I was socialising and working with quite a few other people on the course with me. And today I was at a support group with other autistic people, and I was talking a lot. And whenever I use a lot of energy to talk and socialise with others, quite often at the end of the day or the following day is when I always feel it. So I wanted to talk about headaches and burnouts in particular because, well, before I was diagnosed, I quite often always get a lot of headaches. When I was at school, well, I always thought when I always got a headache is because I was reading too much or I was, well, if that's a thing, reading too much. Although I think that there is a small case of that as well. I'll come to that a little bit later on in a moment. Watching TV too much, or being on the computer screen too much, or, this is the most funniest one, reading while you're in a car. Don't know, I was told that when I was very, very young, very little, I always believed it. This was before I was diagnosed. I've only got diagnosed later on as an adult, and now when I look at it now, because I know more about autism and that I'm autistic and everything, and I know you know what sets me off and everything, and why I get tired and everything. So I study autism by myself, not a degree or anything, but studying by meeting other people who are autistic and other people who live with other people with autism. So I really sort of learn to find out what affects me and what affects other people. And I think that the way that my brain is, and the way that my brain, well, all autistic people's brain is that our neural pathways inside our brain are different to a person who's not autistic. Now, you can call a non-autistic person whatever you like. You can call them normal, although I actually hate that term. I prefer neurotypical, or you could call them holistic, which is similar, rhymey compared to autistic, but I always prefer neurotypical. So a neurotypical, a person who's not autistic, has neural pathways as well, same as an autistic person, but where the differences are is the size and the shapes of those neural pathways. And an autistic person's neural pathways is going to have a fundamentally different shaped, well, not brain, but the neural pathways are going to be different sizes and shapes. Now, think of it this way. If we all know the M25. The M25 is the busiest roads in Britain. Now think of it that everybody has neural pathways like roads like the M25. You've got other motorways, you've got other fast roads, and you've got smaller roads. Every single neurotypical person has got that fundamental shape, including M25. When you come to an autistic person, some of our neural pathways are in completely different shapes and in completely different sizes. And imagine that an autistic person does not have the M25 inside their brain. What's going to happen with all the traffic around the M25 if there is complete congestion? There's going to be more traffic jams, people are going to be waiting, and there's going to be more pressure on all the other roads around that network. And that is how somebody with an autistic brain, that's how their brain operates. That all that information, because they don't have the M25 in their brain, means that all that information has to go into the smaller neural pathways, which can be very, very draining, and we're using a lot of energy. And that's why also autistic people takes a little bit longer to think a process through. We could still do things as much as neurotypical people, but it may take us a lot longer, and you may need more creative ways to try and encourage that person, that autistic person, to get through, because obviously they're using other different routes, neural pathways, and when you're using more neural pathways and you're using more energy, because you're using more energy, more blood's being circulated around the brain to get that information to the right parts of the brain for us to basically think, I've got it. Whereas 2 minutes later down the line, a neurotypical person had already got there, moved the subject on, and is already talking to the next person. So that is why we take a lot longer to sometimes certainly I do as well. And that is why that we quite often need more time to recharge. And let's not forget that people who are not autistic, who are neurotypical, they can get headaches too. Just like you could still have accidents on the M25, but you're going to have less because the neurotypical person has got the infrastructure there. An autistic person we don't have some of those neural pathways. Some of them are different sizes, some of them are different shapes, some of them don't even have some of them. That is why it's so disabling. Somebody with a physical disability who can't walk, you physically can see they do not have a leg or 2 legs or even 2 arms. Somebody who's autistic, you obviously can't see that they've got something missing, but it is the neural pathways in our brain, and that is why we have a lot more challenges. So I think I'm going to leave that video there, because I think I've spoken for far too long. I always try to keep these videos brief, but if you did like this video and you wanted me to talk about anything else about autism that affects me, and you want me to talk about a particular subject, you can leave me a comment below. You can even like this video, yeah, I may do more videos like this. If you did enjoy this, subscribe if you want to as well, and then you will be notified of any other future videos down the line. And I would definitely leave this video here.